In the endless wars of Warhammer 40k, there are monsters that terrify even hardened soldiers. But for psykers, there is one nightmare above all others. A creature that doesn't just kill them, it devours their very minds. This is the Tyranid Psychophage, the brain eater of the Hive Mind.
Welcome back to Brush and Blood, where Warhammer meets the real world. As I paint each miniature, we uncover the echoes it shares with history, famous leaders, conspiracies, and even stories from movies and anime. Quick disclaimer before we dive in: this channel is for entertainment and hobby purposes only. The lore, history, and real-world comparisons are here to inform, inspire, and sometimes provoke thought, but they're not official Games Workshop material or academic sources. Today I'm painting a Tyranid Psychophage, a monstrous feeder beast bred to hunt psykers. And while I work on its carapace and claws, we'll explore its lore, its terrifying battlefield role, and the real-world parallels to creatures that prey on the mind. What is a psychophage? The Tyranid Psychophage is a specialist bioform, a living engine designed to hunt and consume psychic beings. Where gaunts swarm and carnifexes smash, the psychophage stalks psykers. It feeds on their souls, their thoughts, their psychic resonance, and grows stronger with every kill. On the tabletop, it's a nightmare for armies that rely on psychic powers. In the lore, it's a reminder that the Hive Mind adapts to every strength of its prey and turns it into food. And that's the terrifying part, the Hive Mind itself. The psychophage isn't some freak accident or a random mutation. It is the will of the Hive Mind made flesh, a vast alien intelligence spanning galaxies, constantly watching, probing, and learning. Every time psykers resist the swarm, the Hive Mind takes note. Every time librarians, Eldari, farseers, or orc weird boys unleash their powers, the Hive Mind answers by breeding predators to consume them. The psychophage exists because psychic powers once slowed the Tyranids. The Hive Mind solved that problem the same way it always does, with adaptation. The Eldari versus the Shadow. The Eldari know the terror of the Hive Mind better than most. To them, the shadow in the warp is a suffocating blanket that smothers psychic sight. Farseers who once saw the threads of fate suddenly find their visions silent. Warlocks feel their runes turn cold in their hands. And then, in that silence, comes the true horror, the psychophage. On the world of Kaler's doom, an Eldari seer council tried to hold back the swarm. Their minds linked together, weaving foresight into a web of defense. But the Hive Mind answered. A brood of psychophages descended on the council. Each strike drained the seers, their runes bursting like sparks. One by one, the greatest minds of that craft world were consumed. Survivors described the experience as worse than death. They said, "It was not our bodies they ate, it was our thoughts." For the Eldari, who live and breathe through psychic connection, the psychophage is more than a predator. It is the nightmare of their entire race made real. The Imperium versus the psychophage. The Imperium has faced the same nightmare. During the defense of Carmenta's Reach, a conclave of Space Marine librarians gathered to hold the walls against the swarm. Their psychic might turned the battlefield into a stormfire from the sky, shields of force, and blades of pure willpower cutting through Tyranids. But the Hive Mind had prepared. Psychophages moved through the ranks like hounds. Each one targeted a librarian, tearing at their minds with invisible claws. Witnesses said the librarians screamed louder than the guns. Their psychic barriers shattered, and the defense collapsed in minutes. The last librarian standing, a Blood Angel psyker named Asterion Vale, chose to overcharge his own mind, detonating his psychic energy in a final blast that consumed both him and the psychophages around him. It was a heroic sacrifice, but also proof that against the Hive Mind, even humanity's most gifted warriors are just prey. Here are some fun facts about the Tyranid Psychophage and why psykers fear them more than almost any other beast. Its head is basically a living maw of feeder tendrils, designed to shred both flesh and psychic energy. Many psykers claim they feel a psychophage before they see it, a hollow dread pressing into their minds. On the tabletop, the psychophage drains nearby psykers, making them more vulnerable to attack. Lore suggests the Hive Mind bred them after heavy losses against Eldari seer councils and Imperial librarian conclaves. In rare cases, psychophages have turned on their own kind, devouring lesser Tyranids for trace psychic resonance. Imperial records suggest they are deployed sparingly, like assassins, unleashed only when strong psychic prey is detected. The fall of Duron's Bastion. During the Second Tyrannic War, on the fortress world of Duron's Bastion, a conclave of Imperial psykers held the swarm at bay with a vast psychic shield. For days, the barrier held. Guardsmen believed salvation was possible. But then the psychophages came. The creatures tore into the psykers like wolves among lambs, feeding not on flesh but on thought. The shield cracked, the psykers screamed, and the defense collapsed. The last message from Duron's Bastion was a single broken transmission. They are eating our thoughts. For the Hive Mind, it was adaptation. For humanity, it was the end of hope. Real-world parallels, parasites, and brain-eaters. Stories of brain-eaters aren't just science fiction. Nature is full of them. The cordyceps fungus infects ants and hijacks their brains, turning them into zombie husks. The Naegleria fowleri amoeba consumes human brain tissue, earning its title as the brain-eating amoeba. The Toxoplasma parasite rewires the brains of rodents, making them fearless of cats so they can be eaten more easily. The Tyranid Psychophage is built on these same primal fears that something out there might not just kill you, but consume the very thing that makes you, you. Pop culture parallels. We've seen versions of the psychophage before. In anime, the angels of Neon Genesis Evangelion, each one unique, each one adapting to break through humanity's defenses. Just like the Hive Mind, they never stop evolving. In Aliens, the xenomorphs are perfect predators guided by a queen. But compared to the Tyranids, the queen is nothing. The Hive Mind spans galaxies and coordinates billions at once. In Dungeons & Dragons, mind flayers feed on psychic energy, enslaving minds. And in Stranger Things, the Demogorgon stalks psychic children across dimensions. The Tyranid Psychophage fits right into this tradition, a predator of thought, a devourer of the mind. Psychology of fear. Why do brain eaters terrify us so deeply? Because the mind is our last refuge. You can fight bullets. You can fight claws. But if something consumes your thoughts, your soul, your identity, then the battle is already lost. The psychophage is terrifying because it takes away the final sanctuary, your own mind. Psychologists often talk about the fear of loss of agency, the dread that you are no longer in control of yourself. It's the same terror people feel in nightmares, where they can't move, can't scream, or watch themselves do things against their will. The psychophage is that fear made flesh. It doesn't just kill you, it unravels who you are. Every memory, every secret, every fragment of self is devoured and erased. And this isn't just science fiction. In the real world, people often fear Alzheimer's and dementia more than death itself because those illnesses don't just take your body, they steal your memories, your personality, your very sense of self. The idea of slowly losing who you are, of being alive but not yourself, is one of the deepest human fears. And that's exactly what the psychophage embodies. You see this same theme in Doctor Who. The silence makes you forget them the second you look away, erasing memory itself. The Weeping Angels don't just kill you, they steal your potential future. And the Cybermen strip away emotion and identity, leaving only a hollow machine. The Tyranid Psychophage fits right into that same psychological terror, an enemy that doesn't just end your life, it takes away everything that makes you you. And that indifference, that inevitability is what makes it so terrifying. Here's our finished Tyranid Psychophage, a monster bred to consume not only flesh, but thought and spirit. It's not just a Tyranid beast. It's the Hive Mind's answer to psychic power itself. In the next episode of Brush and Blood, we'll dive into a very different kind of horror. The Genestealer Cults Benefictus, a priest of twisted faith who spreads devotion to the Hive Mind from within humanity's own ranks. And before we wrap up, I want to give a special shout out to Polly for supporting this episode. Thank you for helping keep the brushes moving and the blood flowing. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss it. And tell me in the comments, what's the scariest Tyranid creature in your opinion? The Psychophage, the Swarm Lord, or something else entirely? Or maybe the Norn Emissary? Well, that's my favorite so far.
Yes! Not too bad.